Halftime, Monday Night Football. We are live, Yanni. What's going on? We need the Ravens. Need some more from the Ravens, please.
Gonna need a lot more from the Ravens. This is ugly.
What is that in the first half? It's 10-3 right now. We'll take a look at what the second half spreads are. And we were just talking before we hit go live. There's a lot of sports news out right now. So we'll start with NFL. We'll keep it with NFL because we're an NFL stream right here. But John Gruden no longer employed. So that's something.
Yeah, those you said it. The Urban Meyer first to get fired tickets are up in flames. John Gruden beat them to
They're gone. They're gone. So Urban Meyer will probably get stranded in London next week. Hide your wives and children from Urban Meyer in London, but he's going to be the second coach fired. I mean, who knows? Who knows? It could be third if some more emails link on or tend to leak on another coach. But this is kind of crazy. I booked Broncos -3, by the way. I got that. I think it's at 3.5 now. Some books have it down. That's no longer a 3-0 start for the Raiders. That's getting ugly.
Man, what a turn of events for the Raiders. It's like everything's looking good a couple weeks into the season, and now it's just a total downward spiral.
Just a total shit show right now. We'll get back to that one. We'll talk some more week 6. So this is week 5, week 6 openers. That's crazy that we'll be a third of the way through the season. This game, though, let's see what the spread is. I saw that the Colts, before that field goal, were favored by a 0.5 point in this game. We have teasers. We have some heavy exposure on the Ravens in teases right now. It looks like Colts -5.5, according to FanDuel, for the game. Over under in the game 36.5. We're at 13 points right now. 23.5 over under for the second half. And anybody watching us on Twitter, if you're commenting, we're trying to get this going. Twitter disbanded Periscope. Hop on to YouTube, or Twitch actually started tonight. Comment away, and you can comment, but we might not necessarily see it. So hop on to YouTube. But thoughts in the second half here? I think that the Ravens get this together, but I'm certainly not positive.
This game's pretty baffling in general to me. I mean, the Ravens with 3 points. I mean, I can't even figure it out. You know, the first 2 series that Baltimore had the ball, 3 and out. And I don't know if you noticed, but on third down, Jackson could have easily picked up the first down with his legs.
Yes.
Opted to throw, didn't get it. You know, I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if it's trying to prove they can throw the ball, whatever it is. But, you know, now you're looking at that and saying, what the heck is going on here? So I hope, because like you, obviously I had this as an obvious teaser. I hope that they can get this going in the second half. But it's hard to say at this point.
Hard to say at this point. I'm not in a mood to hedge things out. I'm going to ride with the Ravens, but I have some overexposure. Not overexposure, but this will make week 5 basically flat if the Ravens don't pull this off. And we were talking on the podcast last week or stream about this is a great spot for the Ravens. I don't think they're traveling outside the area. Like, they're at home for a while, and they really don't have that hard of a – well, they do have the Chargers next week. But they're not traveling outside of the area, and they don't have that hard of a game until, like, Thanksgiving or so. So they're home, establish themselves, just beat Carson Wentz into a pulp. And Wentz has a turnover. He'll probably be good for another one. But this is not what we expected. 0 for 5 on third down right now. Not great. Colts are 4 of 7 on third down. Colts actually averaging 6.5 yards per play. And I was saying before we went live, I was actually shocked by that, but you had a good point. But like, they're actually moving the ball, and the Colts are actually moving the ball. The Ravens defense doesn't actually look good right now.
No, I mean, they had a couple timely plays. Obviously, the forced fumble. They had a sack on third down. But outside of that, I mean, Indy's moving the ball. Wentz has, 160 yards thrown at this point?
189, actually. 189.
You know, Baltimore, lack of a pass rush without blitzing. They can't seem to get home without blitzing. You know, outside of Marlon Humphrey, secondary isn't that great. So struggling a little bit. I mean, they've only given up 10 points. It's not like they're getting shredded, but they took off the field. I mean, you know, early in that first quarter, Baltimore had 6 plays and Indy had run, I don't know the exact number, but they owned obviously time of possession there.
Agreed. I'm actually leaning towards a second half overplay. Both teams are moving the ball when they need to. The Ravens, if they're down, are going to go for it on fourth down. Don't need to bet it, but I like it.
What do you have, over 24?
Over 20. Yeah. So the 23.5 is gone. DraftKings has a 24. Actually, FanDuel has 23.5. So 36.5 in the game, 23.5. So that's saying let's get 2 touchdowns from the Ravens easily.
You know, I would say that you
just check out the comment.
Through the
solid win by the Bills that we'll touch on right after we get a second half bet that's painful right now because this game's painful.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, you would think that they would get this going, but I'll be honest. I mean, this game, if you watched Baltimore when they played Detroit, very similar, just kind of in the flow of the game here, and that game ended up pretty low scoring. So I'd like to think they're at home, they're going to get some momentum and get going, but I just don't know. I don't know that I'm in love with that over there.
Not in love with the over. Let's take a look at team totals. Ravens 17.5 team total. I'm not touching that because I said 2 touchdowns. They'd have to go over that. Colts team total 18.5. I don't hate that over.
I would be more inclined to take that at this point. And again, not that the Colts have looked great, but they have moved the football. You know, that's a field goal and a touchdown to get over that number, or 3 field goals. And they do get the ball to start the second half. So
I think I'm going to sprinkle on it. And it's almost like a mini hedge. Like there's a chance to hit both here.
I wouldn't blame you. I don't blame you.
Okay. It kind of feels like a 2020 overtime game.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of what we're looking at, is some kind of 2017, some kind of low-scoring overtime game. I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at here.
Tread carefully with this one. I'm going to post this one. I haven't taken a look at too many of the player props so far. I dabbled a little bit, just a small bet on the Wentz over passing yards. He was at 292.5 like the start of the second quarter. He's at 189. Before we pivot to more games, I'll pull up some of these live props, but tread carefully on this one. We have a good record at halftime, but Colts team total over 18.5 is almost, it's not a middle opportunity, but it's almost like an emotional hedge, also financial hedge. Like, could I lose both here? Yes, it could be 17-10 final. And then this computer that I'm broadcasting on is going out the window, just getting launched off my back balcony.
Well, we've done okay with second half anytime touchdown scores, and I think, you know, you could look at a couple guys here. Lamar Jackson plus 150.
Don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, if the Ravens are going to get it going, he certainly has a chance to punch one in. Marquise Brown plus 185. They made the point on the broadcast. Mark Andrews hasn't really been relevant in the red zone. Sammy Watkins is banged up. They haven't really been able to run the ball with their running backs. So I think those 2 guys would be the guys that you're looking at to potentially punch it in. You know, decent plus money odds there, certainly with Lamar Jackson, maybe not quite as good with Marquise Brown.
Yeah, so just say that one more time. It was plus 150 on Lamar, because I'm going to post that. And then then Brown was plus what?
Plus 185. I think I would lean the plus 150. I mean, it seems to me Jackson would be a little safer bet there.
Plus 185 on Marquise Brown.
Yep.
Okay. We'll put those up, and I think that's what we're going to start doing too, is put some value touchdown props at half. Don't go hog wild on these. I don't love the Colts team total over. I don't love the Ravens tease right now either, but that's what happens. And we say that we get into some of these situations where we feel good about teasers going into the week. And I did okay overall. Like the Cowboys came home. That was fine. Part of the reason was Daniel Jones got hurt. I guess we could talk about that a bit. Minnesota got home, but that was not a confident coming home on that one. So, and this one, I thought not necessarily no doubter, but I thought we'd be in a better spot, but I'm just beating this game into the ground. Let's see what we have. And hey, if the Ravens are looking like this, the Chargers, I think, were 3.5 point underdogs. I was hoping the Ravens would come out and throttle the Colts, so I might see a 4. I don't think we're seeing Chargers plus 4 next weekend in Baltimore.
No, I mean, not the way they're looking here. The one thing I will say is I do like the way Baltimore matches up offensively with the Chargers. However, based on what Carson Wentz is doing to their defense here, the way Herbert's slinging it around, you got to think that the Chargers are going to be able to put some points up next week.
You would think so. So maybe we take a look at an over, but we'll deal with that after this. There's probably no lines posted on that right now because this game is going on. Any high level week 5 thoughts? Anything that shocked you? Anything that disappointed you besides the Ravens? This would be the biggest disappointment for me right here. Probably pretty happy about the Bills, right? The Bills look like the best team in the NFL last night.
Obviously, I was very happy last night.
As Schmidt says,
that was, for me, obviously biasly really good to see. But I think that really the telling sign to me is, and to a lot of people, is Kansas City in trouble? I mean, is this a team that, do we have confidence that they're going to kind of get it together? I don't have concerns offensively with that team. I think they'll be just fine. I think they'll figure out how to get 30-plus points a game. But, man, that defense is not good. And I realized they were without Chris Jones last night. They were missing Charvarius Ward. So, I mean, get Chris Jones back helps a little bit. But, man, you got to wonder about that.
Yeah, KC 2-3 right now. I have them actually coupled in a tease with the Ravens right here next week against Washington. That was 6.5. It's still 6.5. Yeah, if you're a Kansas City fan or if you have Kansas City futures, you have to start to worry. If you have Mahomes, like MVP props, I mean, I'm sure you didn't put too much cash on that because it's a long shot prop, but that's no longer at 8-1, 10-1. I saw Mahomes was 20-1. Herbert, I think, is down at 7-1. Like, there's plenty of people right now saying that it's his award to lose. I think you got to look at Brady and Josh Allen and Kyler ahead of him still, but Herbert at 4-1 record, right? If he goes into Baltimore next week and lights it up, then it looks like it might be their division to lose.
Well, and don't forget about, and I hate to say it, but don't forget about Dak Prescott.
Yes.
That team is rolling, and that would be a pretty big story if they can, make a push, which it looks like they're going to be able to do. He's leading that team. That offense is rolling. So don't forget about him too. You get a little better value with him, I think.
That's a good point. And now that I'm thinking about it, say that Dak wins MVP, all of a sudden the comeback player of the year is wide open because I don't think they would award him both. So that might be something in the second half. I start poking around at some odds, taking a look at some odds on who the next comeback player of the year would be. I don't even know who. Burrow, maybe?
Burrow, Sam Darnold. I mean, those are kind of your two.
God.
I think.
Yeah, true.
I don't think it's going to be Roethlisberger. So I don't know.
No. And Big Ben looked better from what I saw yesterday. I guess they put him into some better spots. I guess they got right there at home. But that's an interesting futures market. I think we might be due for a little futures quick hit podcast, 20-30 minutes go through, because there's some interesting odds on like defensive player of the year, offensive player, and the rookies. MVP is wide open, just futures in general. Like, gun to head right now, if I had to pick who wins the Super Bowl, I say Buffalo Bills, and I hope I didn't jinx anything right here, but Bills, and I can't confidently say the Bucks, who are in prime time again on Thursday night.
Well, the Bucks are a little bit like Kansas City in the sense that offense is going to move. I mean, obviously they're doing what they do. Defensively, they're going to have to get that secondary figured out. They're going to have to hope that Richard Sherman can develop there. Maybe they get some of those guys back from injury, but they got to get that figured out.
They do have to get it figured out, and they did win 45-17 yesterday. I saw that they were down early, so they seem to pull it together. Like they had a close-ish game in the second half against the Falcons at one point. They pulled it together. In primetime, they really haven't impressed. They've gotten it done, but they've got like 1-2 point wins. They haven't necessarily impressed, and they're favored by 6.5, 7 points against my Eagles on Thursday Night Football. This is likely going to be the Eagles' last appearance in prime time this season unless they get flexed into something, which I don't think that's going to happen. But Eagles at 2-3 right now. Don't want to spend too much time on that from yesterday, but they got it done. I was watching on my phone while at a baptism, terrible family member, and it looked ugly as hell. They had 6 points at halftime because that long field goal by Elliott. That offense, Hurts doesn't look awful, but it doesn't look great, and they got together a win. Any leans on that primetime game, Tampa and Philly right now?
Well, it's already at 51.5, which, over under is a key number, but I was able to hit the over 51. I think Tampa's going to score pretty easily in that game. And I like it. I think that, though, when you look at the speed of the Eagles, Devontae Smith and getting the ball downfield, I think that they can make some plays and put up enough points so it's not a Dolphins Buccaneers situation. It's a little bit more of a back and forth situation there. So I'm expecting a lot of points there. And I'm expecting the Colts to score here because they just had a big play. So
that's not what we need in our lives right now, Yanni. That's 100% not what we need in our lives. I don't have the game up right now because if I have it streaming on my computer, this stream would just go to hell in a handbasket and I would be all choppy. I don't even want to watch this game right now. Maybe I'm going to spend the second half just looking at futures bets and week 6 bets.
It might be better. Maybe I can text you and we'll have a come from behind win. This is not definitely not shaping up the way that we would want it to, though.
Ooh, Carson Wentz primetime win. Would that make the Colts 2-3?
2-3,
yep. Right?
Yep.
Because they had that 0-3 start. It's wide open. It's wide open in the AFC South. Real quick, any?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're not watching. They just scored, so
I hate my life
on a pretty ridiculous play at that. It's nice catch.
Well, hey, that's good for our Colts team total over 18.5.
There you go.
Pod play, live stream play. Hey, the stream plays have been hot. If it somehow loses, I'm not going to be mad at this point because that means that they're stranded at 17. But wow, Indy.
It's all going to come down to what Lamar Jackson can do here in the second half. And I mean, I guess at some point they're going to have to make a stop because at least as of right now, they can't.
Going to have to come from behind. And we say all the time, that's not their forte. It's not what they're good at, but we'll see what happens.
Yep.
We will see what happens. Okay, we'll save all the week 6 predictions and chatter for the podcast and Thursday Night Football, where my Eagles may or may not get throttled. I do like the over bet. It's going to be really warm out here on the East Coast. It's like 85 degrees on Friday. It looks like a hot night here on Thursday evening as well. So prime conditions for the over. So, all right, Yanni, let's fingers crossed Lamar gets us back here.
Not holding my breath. Good luck, buddy.
Not hold my breath either. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.